LIV Golf showed up on the golf scene once upon a time, and now nothing will ever be the same. We all know that the Saudi-backed golf circuit is the ridiculously rich kid on the block, so of course it makes sense to believe that everyone who jumped ship did so for that cold hard cash. But now we have defectors like Martin Kaymer saying the money wasn't the reason. So let's talk about it. First up, he didn't want to be at the PGA. Back in June, Martin Kaymer made headlines when he signed to join Greg Norman's ranks. The German golfer was quite the European star, and his move rocked the golf fans. If they only knew what was coming next, looking at a certain mulleted Aussie. Recently, Kaymer did what literally everybody seems to be doing these days, spilled the tea on a podcast. And the two-time major winner said that, unlike what most people believe, money wasn't the main reason for his move to the Rebel League. So, to quote Cardi B, what was the reason? Well, he says that he begun to get tired of the direction that the DP Tour and the PGA Tour were headed towards. According to him, he wasn't a big fan of the way the tour was dealing with its schedules and policies. But that's not it. The German star didn't want to live in America for long stretches of time just to keep up with the tour's requirements. He said he knew this system wasn't going to change, and he didn't want a future in golf where he has to stay in America for more than 12 months at once, especially considering that he has a young family now that he wants to spend more time with. And as much as he loves the DP Tour, he says that staying there basically would have meant ending up on the PGA Tour, which was somewhere he didn't want to be. Following up, he wanted something new. Okay, so the trouble of having to live in America wasn't the only thing that tempted him into signing for LIV Golf. He also claimed that after more than a decade of playing on the two tours, he needed something new. So not only the structure, but the gameplay itself was getting tiring for the former world number one, according to him. In fact, LIV's main selling point was exactly this. From day one, Greg Norman has been promoting how different and modern the pattern and the 54-hole play at his league are. And of course, they're also looking to turn it completely into a fantasy league format in the future. The point is that whether or not you like or support the Saudi-backed circuit, it's true that they've introduced innovations in a sport that doesn't exactly budge from its traditional roots. And it's possible for players to find that kind of thing interesting. That's what Martin said too. He found LIV Golf to be more fun, inspiring, and motivating, which were exactly the things that he was looking for after 15 years of doing the same things. According to him, LIV popped up at the right time in his career, and he knew immediately that it was for him. So yeah, in other words, Kaymer wasn't exactly vibing with the two tours anymore. Here are some others with similar explanations. Kaymer isn't the first defector to say this, by the way. Cameron Smith also gave similar explanations for his decision to leave. He wanted to spend more time in his home country of Australia, which was impossible on the PGA Tour. We have another star, Brooks Koepka, who said that the PGA schedule wasn't humanly possible to keep up with. He said that with his recent injuries, he needed a flexible, easier schedule to work with and spend more time with his family. So yeah, looks like the tour had some stuff to figure out. And of course, let's face it, bring more money to the table. And they've started doing that already, so let's see where this goes. Coming up, not a word about the money? How is it that we've talked about LIV Golf for this long without the mention of money? It just doesn't seem right, does it? How is money not the number one reason for signing, right? Well, if you're anything like the majority of golf fans, you've probably been listening to all of Martin Kaymer's justifications with judgmental, squinty eyes. And you're not wrong. The good news is that the German star doesn't shy away from the monetary side of his decision to join LIV. Speaking to Sky Sports, he said that it's human to want to get paid more for your job and that nobody minds some extra dollars. But he claims that while the Saudi money was a part of it, it wasn't the main motivator at all. The way he sees it, he loves playing golf and wanted to do something new. And luckily, he found something that also pays well. That's all. But like all LIV defectors, he too downplays the millions, which is something that's hard to stomach for a lot of fans and the PGA golfers as well. Up next, Justin Thomas believes there's only one motivator. Justin Thomas, the current world number 8 and one of the PGA Tour's favorite children, was only recently contacted by the Rebel League, and he has interesting views of LIV defectors and their reason for deserting the tour. Not to promote chaos, but we think Martin Kaymer would want to listen to this. Apparently, Norman's side tried to convince Thomas to join the Saudi-backed league, and he most probably declined the offer, something he believes the defectors should have done, but didn't because of one thing only: money. The two-time major champion said that he doesn't particularly mind the players jumping ship. What bothers him, and Kaymer take notes, is when these players talk about good golf being the incentive. He believes that they should be clear about it and just admit that the money was too good to refuse. Other players like Tiger Woods and of course Rory McIlroy have also said similar things in the past. In fact, McIlroy recalled recently how he found out Sergio Garcia, his lifelong friend and idol, had joined LIV. It was through a new jet he bought. Yeah, a whole new jet. And you're telling us the paychecks are the last thing on your mind? So yeah, brother Kamer, your reasons were good for sure, but we doubt anybody in the golf world is truly convinced. What's more, Kamer is okay with the consequences. Joining the LIV League comes with two things: a huge sum of money in your account and also a huge number of consequences for your professional career. And Martin Kamer is okay with both of those things. Speaking about all the sanctions and the bans that the LIV defectors are facing, he said that they don't bother him so much. He did admit, though, that he wants the LIV golfers to be allowed to play openly at the PGA and the DP Tour events, and of course, the major championships as well. Being a former Ryder Cup star himself, he said that big tournaments like this Cup should definitely reconsider their position, but he knows that this isn't in his hands now. So even if the defectors are banned forever, he'll be at peace with the decision, because he says he's content with the run he's had with traditional golf. But if not for anything else, he says that it's important for the defectors to be included for the sake of the fans. And he's got a point, because you have to agree with him when he says that some of the best PGA and DP Tour members are now at LIV, and without them, the big tournaments won't be the same. And yeah, just look at Henrik Stenson, Sergio Garcia, and Martin Kamer himself. Those are some of the biggest European names. Speaking of LIV golfers at big events, the biggest question for 2023 was whether or not the defectors will be allowed to play in the major championships. All defectors, including Martin Kamer, obviously wanted to be included, and there's good news for them. The first major championship of the coming year is the Masters at Augusta National, and they've just announced that the defectors will be invited. Now, they didn't exactly call the Rebel League by its name. The official statement from Augusta only mentioned the recent unfortunate divide in the golf world, and they proceeded to clarify that they want the best field of players to participate in the tournament, so the criteria for the qualifications this year won't change. See, some of the defectors like Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, and Cameron Smith were qualified for the Masters because of their previous major wins, but the fear was that because of the growing divide, Augusta National would change their requirements or something. But then again, excluding the defectors isn't that simple. Take the last President's Cup, for example. Without the LIV golfers, the European roster was so lacking, and the Cup was, no offense, pretty bland. Whether or not Kamer qualifies for the 2023 Masters will be confirmed shortly, but that's not even the main concern. Moving on, will the players get along? The problem is, with the defectors and the PGA loyal players all on the same field, will we even get a nice, friendly game? Because Lord knows it doesn't look like it. Earlier this year, the BMW Championship was a little teaser of how things could go, and boy, it was chaotic. The LIV golfers said that they didn't feel welcome there, and honestly, it isn't hard to believe. An overwhelming majority of the DP and PGA Tour members aren't in favor of letting the deserters play alongside them. McIlroy was out there throwing jabs at the LIV players who showed up at the championship while it was going on. As for our boy Martin Kamer, he straight up refused to play at the BMW Championship because he said he knew he wouldn't be welcome there. Kamer didn't want to be a part of a field where he believed the environment would be hostile. So, will we have the same energy for the Masters if he's invited? We doubt it, because the majors are just too important to be turned down like that. But one thing is for sure, when the players from the opposite sides of this bitter golf war meet at the next year's Masters, there will be another whole new layer of drama involved. That's a wrap for this video. Do you believe the LIV defectors deserve the heat they're getting for accepting big money for deserting the PGA Tour? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.